A question just came through from a viewer, and I would love to talk about it today. It's about elemental energies. Do I use them? How do you use them? What are they all about? Let's cover that in this video.
This is your moment. This is your moment in time. This is your moment. This is your moment.
Okay, elemental energies, they don't get talked about a lot, right? But they're great. And I do use them. And I think it's become one of those things that I use really kind of in the background as a support structure with the things that I do intuitively in my spiritual path. So I don't think it comes to the forefront to talk about too much. We don't have a lot of conversations. So let's jump in. In this video, I want to talk about what elemental energies are, how they flow and how you can use them in two very distinct ways. And I'll give you some examples and some tools so you can watch the rest of this video and head on out there and play around with some elemental energies. Okay, let's get started. All right, let's jump into elemental energies. This is a topic I don't talk too much about, and I'm actually quite surprised by this, which is why I loved when the question came across my desk. I thought, this is wonderful. Let's chat about this a little bit because this is going to be a really good video. I want to talk about not only, what the elements are, how they're connected, where they come from, how they flow, that type of thing. But I want to talk about two really fantastic ways that you can use the elements in your intuitive path, in your spiritual path, in the tasks that you do, manifesting, clearing, meditating, all of that. And I feel like we use them on a regular basis. You're probably watching this thinking, I do use them quite often. We just don't talk about them too much. So, okay, first off, the elements. In essence, I talk a lot about them in the terms of, pick the element that works the most for you. So you'll hear me say that in a lot of the teaching that I do is here's a tool and you're going to use an element with the tool. Pick the element that resonates with you the most. Now, let's break down what that really is. What is the element? The elements are earth, water, fire, air. And depending on different cultures, you might hear like wood, or you might hear even chaos. So, breaking those down, I'm going to stick with the basic four for now, knowing that there are many others out there and a lot of other different variations. Couple things to note right out of the gate. When it comes to working with elemental energies, what I want you to do right now is throw out the concept that it has to be some huge ceremony in order to do it. That has to be some elaborate, you have to do it this way. And it's step 1, 2, 3, 4. You know me. If you've been following me, you know me. It's not about copying what somebody else does. It's about learning about the core of a subject, creatively tailoring it to fit you, and then watching that power unleash. There's really something important to that. So I'm going to say it again. When we take a concept and an understanding and we creatively adjust it to what works for us, that's where the power comes through. So we've got earth, we've got air, we've got water, and we've got wind. I'm going to stick with the basic ones for now. All of these are like the flow of Mother Earth. How do I want to explain that? It's like the veins. It's like the energy channels of Mother Earth. It is Mother Earth's art created and experienced right before us. All of these elements have very different feels to them. There's different vibes to each of them. So what I would suggest you do if you're really curious about working with the elements, because you can work with them to assist in something you're doing all the way to playing with the wind. I mean, it's endless the things that you can do with the elements. But if you're going to start playing around with them, which I highly encourage you do because they're super fun, what I would suggest is carving out some time to sit with each of them. Just start with the four basics. And like I said, there's more, and you can, depending on the teachings that you're finding or the culture that you're in or things like this, you might have more. But start with the basics. Sit with each one, meditate with them. You don't have to be outside to do it. You don't have to be anywhere special. You don't have to wear any special clothing. You can be listening to some, smooth jazz in the background. It doesn't matter. Meditate the way that you're able to meditate best. And I want you to focus on one element at a time. Focus on earth. Think about it. Think about the smell of it, the feel of it. Think about your toes sinking into it. Think about the vast greatness of it, how big it is. Think about all of that and let emotions come up, let feelings come up, let words and signals, let intuitive messages come up, not from what you've read anywhere else. I'm asking you to find that direct connection to earth authentically through your unique spiritual channel. So sit with earth for 5 minutes and see what comes in. Jot it all down on paper, wipe the slate clean, sit with water for 5 minutes, meditate with water and imagine it and feel it and, get that feeling. This is a very important step. Trust me, you're going to love me for this one. This is a very important step. Do 5 minutes for earth, 5 minutes for water, 5 minutes for fire. Okay. And so we've got earth, water, fire, air, 5 minutes for air. So do 5 minutes for all of the basic ones, any additional ones that you find are really important on your path, but sit with each of these and meditate into them. Feel the experiences that come through as a result of that. Jot that down on paper. Now, when you're done with this, what you've written on paper, what you experienced in those 5 minutes, that is how you uniquely connect to that element. That's how you connect to it. Nobody else, it's how you connect to it. This is going to give you the baseline of when to use these elements and how to use these elements. Perhaps water gave you a feeling of rising up and lifting. So if you're in a situation where you're doing energy work for somebody else or even for yourself and you need that rise up, that lift, you can call on water. Whereas somebody else would call on water in a moment to clear. It's a very common use of water energy to clear. Or somebody else might, tap into water because it feels like a transport kind of tool. Like that's like the first thing that they sat with that came up when they sat with water was like a boat floating and getting from A to B. So it's going to be different for everybody. Have fun with this. That's what intuition's all about. We got to have fun with these things. Sit with all four of them, 5 minutes each, more if you want to, and really get that relationship built. Now, moving forward, the elements are an expression of Mother Earth, and they are so powerful. Think of Mother Earth as this being that has 7,000 different energies running through her. And some of the strongest ones happen to be the elements. And in essence, when you work with the elements, you're subtly saying, Mother Earth, can you help me with this energy? Can you give me a little bit of this energy to use to achieve what I'm trying to achieve for the highest good of all, always, right? And again, this doesn't have to be fancy. It can be really straightforward. It can be just like, this is what I'm doing. Earth feels this way to me, and I know it's supportive. I'm going to call on Earth. This is great. Mother Earth, can I have some of that Earth energy to help achieve what I'm trying to achieve? So, I do want to make a quick side note because everyone is different and everyone is so beautiful in their spiritual path. So, I've made the comment here of it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to do a big ritual or anything. It can be very simple. But I want to also throw out the comment if you want it to be a big, beautiful ritual, then do so. Then do so. I knew an acquaintance who she would create these elaborate altars, this huge, beautiful, and they were just spectacular. It was the creation of that altar, of that ritual, the act of creating all of the items that she would choose and how she would lay them out. The act of creating it was the energy she was building for what she was doing. Whereas other people don't necessarily need that. They need to go inward. We're all very different. Learn that about yourself so you know how to use it. For me, I go inward. I don't, an elaborate, design or objects and things like this. I do use a few talisman, but I don't have a lot. And that's what works for me. But this incredible woman that I knew, that's what works for her. It's the actual physical hands on building of these beautiful, spectacular ritual altars that help her create what she wants to create. So get to know yourself in that sense. Get to know yourself in that sense. How does your intent thrive the best? Is it hands on? Is it eyes open? Is it outdoors? Is it indoors? Is it at night? Is it in the morning? Is it through meditation? Is it simple? Get to know that about yourself. It's really, really helpful. Now, moving forward, elements. We've got the four major elements and any others that you want to play around with. You're sitting with each of them. They are different energetic vibrations coming off of Mother Earth, very powerful ones, kind of major ones coming off. And you're saying, hey, Mother Earth, can you help me out with this? I want to pull this energy. You've now sat with each of these elements. You understand what these elements really represent to your alignment, your unique alignment. And now you have them in your toolbox. Let's talk about the two different ways that you can use them. Okay. The first way that I use elemental elements, the element energies, is in something that I'll be doing for someone else. So clearings is a really big one for me. I use elements a lot in my clearings. If I'm having a really stubborn clearing, I go into a home or a building and the spiritual energy in there is really heavy and dark and it's stuck and it's kind of stagnant, it's not moving. I will fill that building up with water. Imagine, okay, that insurance liability, that'd be really bad, but not actual water, the element of water, the energy of it. I'll fill it up and then the water will shake everything loose. And then I'll imagine the water draining out of the room, releasing everything that was keeping everything stuck. And then spirits and the energy can clear and spirits can cross. So I'll use water in my clearings. I'll use sometimes fire if I've got to get a little bit more fierce. I will also use water in the sense of, a river flowing. And so if you look at rivers, okay, they're very transformational. They take something from A to B. So if something's not moving, I will imagine a river flowing through it, and then the power of that water moves it. So if I'm doing a reading for somebody also, and I need to access a certain piece of information or something that I'm really looking at, like this person's trying to heal and they want information on it, confirmation, I will use wind I'll imagine wind coming in and kind of blowing away all of the, I want to say that, like the human fears, the human concerns, the human worries, and see what's happening at the spiritual core, like what the message is, what the meaning is for why it's happening. I'll do that. I'll imagine wind going through my whole office and blowing out everything that's blocking me from seeing clearly the intuitive message that's supposed to come through for the sitter. So I do use these in my professional life. I'll call in wind, I'll call in fire, I'll call in water. Obviously, those are my favorites. When it comes to being done with a session, for me, earth energy is a very protective, loving, kind of a shielding energy. So if a client has gone through a lot of hurt and they're done and they're working on healing at the end of the session, I'll call in earth energy and just say, Mother Earth, can you wrap yourself around this beautiful soul to give her that extra protective layer that she may need in order to continue her healing process. I'll also call in earth energy with clearings. Here's a great example of using earth energy in a clearing, and this is a tip that you might have heard from people, but you can do this in your own home. You can take a little bit of salt. Okay, like, I mean, half a cup, not a lot, if that, tablespoon even, a little bit of salt, because, the grass will thank you for it. You can go outside and you can walk around the outside perimeter of your house or your home or your property, and you can sprinkle a little bit of salt. When you're sprinkling that salt around it, you can say to Mother Earth, hey, can you watch over us and protect us? And that salt will actually, it's like you're giving the salt to the earth, and then you're asking Mother Earth to watch over you and protect you. And visually, what I tend to see with that is like a dome that kind of comes over the home to say, okay, I'm watching out for you. I'm going to, keep you shielded from some of the negative stuff that can come through. And that works really, really well. So I do actually teach a lot of people to do that. If you're in an apartment, you can, well, salt can get a little bit tricky around the outside, edges of your apartment, right? But what you can do is you can put salt around the exterior walls around the inside of your apartment. If you don't want salt on your carpet, you can fill a water bottle with water and you can put some salt in the water and then just spray it up in the air around the outside areas of your apartment. This is going to ask Mother Earth to protect you. So even if you're in an apartment, even if you're on the third floor, this still works. That's calling on that earth energy. In essence, all we're doing here with a lot of these is just calling on that type of energy for what we know it works for us. So that's one way to do it, to use these energies to say, hey, I'm trying to get something fixed, repaired, balanced. I'm trying to see some sort of clarity. And so I'm going to call on that energy to come into the session. Now, this first way of using element energy is kind of exterior, right? Now, I'm not bringing it into me. That's going to be the second one. I'm not bringing the energy into me to use. I'm asking it to apply to what I'm trying to balance or read intuitively outside of myself. Now, the second way to use elemental energy is to go ahead and call on it to come into your energetic body so that you can use that in another way. Now, with this, it's really important, super important to do GCP before you do this, ground clear protect, right? And in that, you're using the elements in that as well. When we ground, we use Mother Earth. When we clear, we use water or fire or wind, whatever works best for you. When we protect, we kind of use the air because we're creating a bubble around us. If you don't do GCP yet, please go to the link below at the top 5 intuitive tools. It's free. It's absolutely free. Just learn GCP and start using it right away. You will thank me for it. It is wonderful. So when it comes to bringing elements into your system, do GCP first. GCP is going to assist you in not bringing in anything that you don't want brought in, instead bringing 100% purely in the element energy that you're looking to bring in. Now, all the way at the beginning, we've got those basic energies, right? We kind of know what they mean to us. So when we need some of that for our own personal use, or if we know that bringing it into our system and then utilizing it in the work that we're doing or the balancing that we're doing around us works best for us, this is the next tool to use for you. With each of these elements, I want you to again sit and meditate with what is the best way for this element to connect with my system. Meaning, what is the best way for earth energy to come into my energetic body so I can then use it to balance myself or someone else? What is the best way for water energy to come into my system? What is the best way for wind energy to come into my system? What is the best way for air? And I'm saying it this way because while there's a lot of different teachings out there, when you use a very common teaching is when you use wind, you open up your two palms and you invite the wind energy to come into your two palms. That's wonderful. And it's probably going to work for you. But what if you sit and you meditate and you realize that receiving wind energy into your energetic body is better done by imagining, let's say, a little door in the front of your chest that opens up, receives the wind energy. Maybe there's a better way for your unique system to receive an elemental energy in a different way. And so get creative, try a bunch of different things. Try wind or water coming into the palms. Try, opening up your heart chakra and having it come in that way. Imagine it coming in, breathing it in or coming in through your feet. Allow yourself to sit with that for a little bit and just say this simple thing. Let's say you're sitting with earth energy. I want you to say this simple thing. Okay, Mother Earth, I'm going to sit quiet and I would like you to help me and show me the best way for my energetic system to receive earth energy. And then wait. Just wait for a minute or two. It might happen right away. It might take a little minute, but allow yourself to see, feel, and hear what's happening. Okay. And that is going to be your best way of bringing that elemental energy into your body. Now, all the way back to the beginning one more time. You've got your meaning and your reasoning and your understanding of how you connect to each of these elements. So in your personal day-to-day life, and occasionally when you do work with others as well, when you need that particular type of energy to empower you in a certain way, assist you in a certain way, go ahead and call on it to come in to your energetic body. This is kind of more of a personal use of it, but a beautiful use of it, right? When you need to get from A to B, so for me, when I need to get from A to B, if I'm traveling or I'm trying to solve a problem or something like that, sometimes I will close my eyes and I will allow water energy to come in. And now water energy actually comes in a couple different ways for me. Right under, my sternum, I can imagine water kind of coming into my core and then filling up right there and filling up through my system. Water energy, I can also imagine pouring down over me and it pours all the way through me. Sometimes it can be more than one way as well, but it'll be different for everyone. Notice how water energy for me wasn't, through the palms. Some people it's through the palms. They can literally hold their palms out and bring that energy in. Now, these two ways are very powerful. I want to tell you one more last tip here, but these two ways are very powerful. Sit with what they mean, use them outside of yourself, call on them to come in energetically like a beautiful orchestra, helping you to achieve what you're trying to achieve for the highest good of all in anything you're trying to do, balancing outside, but also use them personally, balancing yourself inside. When you need a little bit of this, just call on it. When you need a little bit of this, just call on it and sit with how it best connects with your energetic system, and then hold on to that visual. Heck, that visual might even change over time. Be fluid with it. Be one with Mother Earth. How's that? But these energies are unlimited. They are completely accessible to every single person. There's no magic around this. There's no specialty factor around this. There's no gift around this. These are part of your existence. They are all completely accessible to you at any point that you need them. Mother Earth is the biggest giver I have ever experienced. Now, here's my last thought. If and when you get a chance to be around these elements, do so. While I'm teaching this in the sense of you can do this in your living room, you don't have to go outside, you don't have to do anything. Being able to identify and connect physically with these elements on a regular basis is going to amplify your experience when you're not connecting physically with the element, but you're using it intuitively on your spiritual path. So if fire is your jam, build a campfire in your backyard. Do you know what I mean? If water is your jam, take a bath every single night. Make it a point to honor that element by connecting with it on a regular basis. Just like using the five senses in more depth in your day to day life expands your intuitive channel and your intuition's access to those five senses, meaning when you spend an entire day trying to see everything you can see, or spend an entire day trying to hear everything you can hear, that fine tunes those five senses so your intuition can speak more clearly and easily through them. Just like that, using the elements also becomes more powerful when you connect with them physically on a day to day basis. It can be a candle that you light and you blow out in the morning. It can be a fan in the corner of your room that you just sit and you feel the wind. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be natural wind, but it could just be a creative. It doesn't matter. Feel it, smell it, see it, be around it. You'll be able to embrace it and be stronger when you use it. Using the elements is really fun. And it is a great tool. And I encourage you, as soon as you can, sit down and meditate with each of them. See what they have to say for you. See what they have to bring you and start using them. You'll love it. When it comes to your elements, do me a quick favor. Tell me which one's your favorite. Which one do you resonate toward? And I totally know that they can connect with our signs. I get that too. But which one really just charges you up? I would love to hear it.
This is your moment.